Wonderful. Awesome. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Heroes Connect Military to Manufacturing event. We are here today talking with a company who is actively seeking military talent. These events were designed to help the broader military community just better get to know and understand how they can fit in, how their skills can translate into careers in the manufacturing and supply chain industries. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Lauren Bloomer, and I am a program manager with the Manufacturing Institute. I oversee the Heroes Make America Military Skill Bridge Training Program at Fort Liberty here in North Carolina. And today we are featuring one of our Heroes Make America sponsor companies, Saint-Gobain. I'm so excited to have them with us today. Before I introduce our first speaker, I want to cover some general participation guidelines. First, this event is being recorded and will be sent out to you in a part of a recap email. Please make sure that you stay muted throughout the presentation so we can minimize any background noise. And lastly, I encourage all of you to be active participants. Please feel free to utilize the chat feature throughout the presentation. So if you have questions, we will hold off on answering them until the very end in the Q&A portion, but we'll have those there. And at that time, during the Q&A portion, we'll also invite you to come off mute, use the raise hand feature, and come on live, ask your questions if you would like. Overall, events like these are your opportunity to join in the discussion and ask questions of these industry leaders who you may not normally have access to. So let's go ahead and practice utilizing that chat feature. If you don't mind, open it up and drop in the location where you will be seeking employment. While you are doing that, I also want to briefly highlight the Manufacturing Institute's Heroes Make America Military Skill Bridge Training Program. We have many of our current students on this call, but we also have other military affiliated participants and company representatives from the community joining us from across the country today. For those of you who may not be familiar with Heroes Make America, we are a DoD-approved skill bridge program that is open to transitioning service members, veterans, and military spouses. We provide a variety of certification trainings equipping you for rewarding careers in the manufacturing and supply chain industries. Our students learn from a variety of topics to include safety, quality practices, various technical trainings like electrical, mechanical, pneumatic training, and also logistics training. We will drop our program manager's contact information in the chat, so if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us. In addition to these SkillBridge offerings, we also host a variety of other virtual events to include these weekly Heroes Connect events, Veteran Learning Series, and our quarterly Vets to Manufacturing virtual career fairs. We will drop those dates and registration links in the chat for you to check out. So without further ado, let's move on to the main feature. It is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Julie Vacrat, with Recruiting Programs Director with Saint-Gobain. Julie, the floor is all yours. I can't wait to hear your beautiful French accent.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Welcome everyone to our event. My name is Julie Vacrat. I'm the Director of Recruiting Programs for Saint-Gobain North America. I've been with the company for 4 years now in various capacities. The cute story is that my first ever internship, my first ever professional experience was with Saint-Gobain back in France, where I'm from. And so ever since, I've been in love with the company. I even scored a husband, which is, a bonus. But today, it's not about me. It's about you and how you would love to join Saint-Gobain. We'll walk you through, Daryl and Terry and I, what the company makes, who we are, where we are located throughout the US, what positions we are offering, what benefits, and also how Saint-Gobain is engaged with the military community. So first, I would love for Terry and Daryl to introduce themselves.
Daryl, go ahead, Daryl, you first.
Thanks, Terry. Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Huddleston, a U.S. Army veteran of 12 years. Mainly served at, back when it was called Fort Hood. I was in the 4th Infantry Division and the 1st Cavalry Division. Then had volunteered to go to recruiting command. I've been with Saint-Gobain for a little over 2 years now. And it's been quite an adventure, especially in this space, supporting veterans like myself and finding where you all fit in our organization. I'll pass it on to Terry.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Terry Farrell. I am in case you can't tell, a U.S. Navy veteran. I'm actually still a drilling reservist. I've been I did 8 years active on a couple different ships, and probably before a lot of you guys were even out of school. And yeah, and I've been in the reserves in active duty total time about 37 years, and still having a great time. So I'll stay as long as they'll let me. But I'm a IT project manager here at Saint-Gobain, and I'm also the lead for the Veterans Employee Resource Group for North America. If you have any questions at all about us during this, please throw them in chat, and we'll try to address them after at the end of our presentation. Thanks.
So we can go to the next slide, and Terry will talk about general information about the company.
Okay, so we were founded about 359 years ago. Louis XIV wanted mirrors for the Palace of Versailles, and him and one of his counselors created a company, and that's how we got our start. We've been here ever since. Located in 76 countries, we have 8 cross business R&D centers. 2 that I'm most familiar with are in Malvern, Pennsylvania, and up in Northborough, Massachusetts. We have more than 166,000 employees, approximately 800 facilities around the world, and 3,500 sales outlets. And we're trying to be we're trying to make the world a better home and lead in sustainable habitat. So we have a commitment to carbon neutrality and meeting that in 2050. And we are the world or European leader in most of our businesses. We're doing a lot of exciting things. We are the biggest company that you don't know about. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have a variety of businesses that we're in. And again, this is just to kind of get you that idea of where we're at. Surface Solutions, we have an abrasives business. We obviously do building materials with our CertainTeed as our premier manufacturer of that. We make ceramic materials, and a little bit more on that in a bit. If you are familiar with the airport in Denver, Colorado, that white canvas sail-like stuff, that's our material. We also did the this pains me to say it, but the AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. I'm an Eagles fan, so but we'll give it to them. All right, next slides. And so here's some of our ceramic stuff, right? Near and dear to all our hearts. We make all kinds of body armor components, helmet add-ons, chest plates, side plates, torso plates, chest plates. We also make armor plating for aircraft and Humvees. We make sapphire glass for window applications. A lot of it has a lot to do with our military affiliation. Next slide. And I believe that's Daryl.
So as you can see, we have a variety of businesses just across North America, including Canada and the US. And we're composed of a variety. We have our architectural, which is like our ceilings, some of the things that you might see in a casino or a hotel. And then we have gypsum. Gypsum is like your drywall, your wallboard, even the putty that you would use in that aspect. Insulation. Fun fact, let me go back to gypsum real quick. Silver Grove, Kentucky, that is our largest gypsum plant and the largest drywall plant in the world. Now moving on to insulation, if we look at Kansas City, that is not only keeping or making the world a better home, but it's also keeping the world warm, I would say, from your home. They produce a lot of insulation, and it's the largest insulation plant in the world as well. As we move on to roofing, we're located in Georgia, California, and other various places across the US, but we have a lot of things happening in our roofing division. So that would be another good team to join. We go into siding. We have plants up in the Northeast that produce a variety of siding, not just for homes, but we also used to have vinyl fence. But moving on to our K-Can group, we acquired them this past year, and they have added a lot to our business. And then we see our Creosote surface solutions and ceramics. So feel free to check out our website, and you'll be able to see a snippet from all of our locations. And it's like a PDF that shows information about each location. Going on to the next slide. Career opportunities. Once you scan that link, it'll take you to our careers page, and you can navigate through there on like what location would you like, are you interested in? And as you can see, we have a wide variety of opportunities ranging from engineering, maintenance, supply chain, IT, and HR professionals. And what are we looking for? We're looking for people that can innovate, build an open and engaging culture, and cultivate that customer intimacy. And one thing that I would say about this audience is that one thing that you have is at the end, you know, being agile. Every person in the military has been agile at some point in their career. So go on to the next slide. Benefits. One thing that I personally really enjoy about our benefits plan is that it almost feels like whenever I left the Army and now that I'm here, it's almost like I never left in that aspect. Even though when you're on base, you can go directly to the pharmacy and get over-the-counter medication or anything like that. It's as simple as I call in my doctor, they go meet with them, and copay for mental health is $0. The prescriptions, I don't have to cover that, and it's pretty phenomenal. And one thing that stands out about our benefits program is that a lot of people don't know about it, but if you live in a major city, there's I don't know if anybody's ever heard of WAG, but we have a partnership through them where they'll come watch your pets. And we also have legal insurance as well. So going to the next slide. Yeah,
Daryl, if I could chime in real quick, this
Definitely.
is just something new that happened, and so we have a military leave policy for those of us that are still drilling, and I always felt that it was a good policy. I had somebody from HR reach out to me recently and wanted to talk about it, and of course, first thing I'm thinking is, oh no, here we go. They're going to kind of ratchet it back a little bit. It was exactly the opposite. The HR person, compared it to a couple different leave policies that we have, and said that the one that we have for the military, in her mind, was not fair to us as military members, and committed to changing it for us. And she laid out the plan. So once that's passed, that will be a very generous military leave policy.
Wow.
Yeah, they're constantly evaluating stuff like that, which is really cool.
Another awesome part about our team and programs.
So if I can chime in, Daryl, on those
Yes,
3 slides, the location, who we are looking for, and the benefits. So when you look at the slide of our locations, we've always been pretty massive, but in the couple recent years, we've been acquiring a lot of companies. Basically, we are growing a lot. We are the one region in Saint-Gobain group worldwide that is growing the fastest, and where the group is investing the most, because the group knows that there is a lot of potential in North America. So what does that say for you? It says that there is a lot of opportunity, the business is healthy, and there's a lot of dollars that are put into this region. And our benefits are the way they are very good and innovative. We reimburse for transitioning. If you transition identity, if you want to become transgender woman or transgender man, we reimburse the surgery. If you are thinking of going through IVF process, we reimburse those as well. So we are looking at how can we make the benefits so much better for our employees and our future employees, because we need to sustain that growth. This map is a very ambitious map. We need the people to sustain the growth, and we want to make sure that they feel good once they are with the company. So all of this makes sense. And I want to also touch point on, who we are, what expertise or behaviors we want to attract. When I look at being agile, obviously the military community is agile, but if you are not the military, let's say you are the spouse, and you've been, moving places a lot, that shows agility, because you have to get your life back on track pretty quickly once you've settled somewhere, make new friends, find the support network, where are you going to shop, who are you going to talk to? And so that you kind of need to do pretty fast. So I want to say military and personnel and spouse are what we are looking for, truly.
Thank you, Julie.
I see some questions in the chat for locations while we are on the topic. What positions and locations are you currently hiring for? Daryl, do you want to maybe highlight
Yes.
where we are growing the most and what positions we're looking for?
Yes, I would say that we are really expanding out in the east, like in the southeast and probably in the North Carolina area. We have plants that are expanding. And so the positions that we'll be looking for out there would range from your operators to maintenance and engineering, along with EH&S. And the rates, the salary range, it can range from positions to positions. Let's see.
Yeah, Daryl, EH&S, for anybody that's wondering, is environmental health and safety. Yeah. So, and you guys can't. I don't know if you can see it when you go into the career link that was posted, but there's a map out there, and it shows how many jobs are in what location of the country. Like right now, I'm looking at in Northeast has 128 positions open. That's from like Maryland on up into the New England area, and like 56 in Mid-Atlantic, 53 in the kind of Central East area. There's a lot of positions out there. So.
Moving on from benefits.
So here we want to show you how we engage with the military community beyond jobs. Oh, Lauren, I don't think there is any sound.
Well, it's a really touching story, so we need to fix that so they can hear the sound. Give me just a moment. Pardon me for a second while I stop sharing and check my settings. I will get it all fixed and we will begin playing again. Give me just a moment. All right.
When I came out of high school, I didn't think I was going to go into the military at all, actually. I just wanted to go get my degree, be an engineer, be awesome. But, I also had kind of a higher calling. I wanted to do something bigger than myself. I wanted to serve. That's kind of how I decided to join the military. Today, we're going around to some of the Northeast Ohio sites to show a little appreciation to veterans who have served in the past and currently serve, who are also members of the Saint-Gobain community. Myself and a couple members of the VERG, the Veterans Employee Resource Group, we actually designed this coin. It has our VERG symbol on one end, and it says honoring all who serve. And then on the other side, it has all of the armed forces, the American Armed Forces. And then in the middle, we also have the Canadian Armed Forces, because we have some members of VERG who are Canadian. All right, thank you guys. It is a sacrifice, and it's a sacrifice that, only 1% of the population make, whether they were drafted, in the past, or they decided to volunteer to make that sacrifice. It's still a sacrifice for themselves and their families. And, it's just a random day to pick and say, thank you for what you've done. There's Veterans Day and Memorial Day, and there's all these days that are dedicated to it. But, throughout the year, a lot of times people don't go out of their way and say thank you to veterans. And, it should be a continuous thing. Just to show that appreciation. So it's just about appreciation and letting people know that, hey, I know what you've done and I thank you for it.
Thank you, Lauren. So Saint-Gobain has been committed to the veterans community for a very long time. One of the examples of that is our partnership with Homes for Our Troops. So we partner with that organization to provide building materials for injured military personnel who are coming back from service with an injury. So Homes for Our Troop is definitely building the house and accommodating for the special needs that veteran has, and Saint-Gobain is providing the materials. So what is cool with our products is that they truly work together. So when you think about the roof, the gypsum, insulation, and siding, you can think about it as a system that makes your house very insulated, soundproof, and healthy for your family. So it's very convenient for Homes for Our Troops to have, just one point of contact to provide that solution for the veteran. So and we've been in partnership with Homes for Our Troops for more than 10 years now. And we've been continuing our efforts to support the veterans community. Very recently in Philadelphia, we've partnered with the Veterans Village. It's a project run by Heaven. It's a nonprofit that is helping women veterans who are homeless. So it's providing them for a place to live, to get their life back on track with the additional support network that they would need to, just get used to living in a home again, making sure if they have any addiction that they get help, and also get job ready once they are ready to get job ready. So again, we've been donating money and products for that building that has been inaugurated this year. So that was a pretty significant project for us. And also internally, as you've seen, we are making sure we recognize our veterans. So, Terry said he's leading the Veterans Employee Resource Group with the company. This is a group of volunteers, Saint-Gobain volunteers, who are leading actions throughout the year to make sure we recognize and also we provide the support network. And Terry, maybe you want to say a couple words on, the recent virtual events that we had and what we are planning for the rest of the year.
Certainly. Yep. So we try and do stuff throughout the year. Military Appreciation Month, though, in May is one of our big times to do stuff. And so this past Military Appreciation Month, and then going into June, we did some presentations on mental health. So we held some panel discussions, one specifically for female veterans, because some of the issues that a female veteran experiences not like things that I would experience, right? So that was a really good discussion. And then we did two solely mental health discussions on things that we as veterans might experience and how we can help each other cope with things that we're going through. We're actually going to do another one here in November on veteran benefits, because there's a lot of guys and girls out there that probably don't know what they're entitled to. So we want to make sure that people are aware. I think we also have another female veteran panel coming up. I'm not sure what the topic on that one's going to be. I'm sure they'll let me know. We are also developing a new coin to be handed out to all our veterans probably within the next year. It's going to be a little bit. It's going to be pretty much the same as the one that Julissa had in the video. Slightly bigger. It will include Space Force this time because we have to honor our we have to honor all our services. Just one note on the coin. What Julissa didn't mention on the back of the coin, and this is something I like to point out. We have our 5 principles of conduct for Saint-Gobain. And that's respect, integrity, loyalty, solidarity, and commitment. And those tie really well into the core values of all our services, right? And that's one of the things I liked about Saint-Gobain from the start. We have 5 principles of conduct and four principles of action that every employee gets training on, and we incorporate those values into our work lives and into our home lives, and it's a pretty powerful thing, and it's a nice link going back to honor, courage, and commitment in the Navy, and the 100 core values that the Army has. Sorry, Daryl. But we also some of the other stuff we have come up. We do an annual Toys for Tots drive, virtual and in person. We try and give back to some of the veterans groups throughout. And then my big charge for the plants that are not near where I'm at in Pennsylvania is for the veterans group to get together, find a charity that resonates with them in their area, and then go out into the community and get our name out there and let people know who we are and who they are. And let's do some good for each other in the community. Seems to be working.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
I don't remember if there's a final slide. Oh yeah. One last video about our partnership with Homes for Our Troops.
I love this house. This house is amazing. It makes me feel empowered. I like here in the house, I can get anywhere and everywhere, in my wheelchair. That's awesome. I can go from the bathroom over here all the way to my kids' room.
I really am speechless. Like they just, every little detail from even the kids' rooms and the living room, every little thing is just perfect.
You know, it's given me a lot of power back, so I can do
more
anything.
freedom to
A lot
do.
more freedom. You know, I can go around the whole entire house right here. You know, in my wheelchair. I'm ready to move in. I'm ready.
Thank you. So obviously you can connect with us through LinkedIn. Daryl is particularly focusing on recruiting. I lead the effort to structure our veterans recruiting program, and Terry is our awesome lead for the veterans ERG. So feel free to chat with us after the session. But right now we have time for a Q&A. So is there more questions in the chat that we haven't answered, Lauren? Or we can have live questions as well.
Yeah, either way, let me look through the chat. Unfortunately, when I share, my view is a little limited. So let me look through here. And if you would like to ask a question, feel free to utilize the raise hand feature and unmute and come on and ask your question. So I'm seeing a lot of location questions. Peter, go ahead. While I'm cruising through these comments, go ahead and ask your question, sir.
So I was just actually curious about if there were any opportunities in Hawaii, because I did see that on the map there was an asterisk for the, I think, something solutions, and then I was looking on all the websites while listening, and I couldn't find anything. So I was just wondering if there were like a certain place to go find like opportunities for that.
Peter, that would be on our careers page. If a location was not listed, there's most likely not any openings for that area.
Okay. So if it's not listed, there's not openings.
Right.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you so much.
Oh, yes, sir.
And just to follow up a little bit with what Peter is asking, if there was a specific location where they know that you're located, but maybe you didn't have any openings, is there a way for them to sign up for alerts or anything like that if a position were to come open? Or is it something they just need to check?
No, there's, when you go on the career page and you search, you can actually build a search that will run periodically and email you whenever anything meets your criteria. What I find is a lot of us in-house do that as well. One, not only to like point other people to a position, but the company highly values mobility. So, I could be working in Pennsylvania today and accept a position if I wanted to move to, say, somewhere in New England, or maybe out, to Colorado because I like skiing, and I wanted to get a job closer to where I can ski a lot more. The company would be amenable to that if there's a position that matches my qualifications. Julie came from France. I know of one of our plant managers who is a native Spaniard, and he ended up in Russellville, Alabama, running a plant, and now he's back up in Pennsylvania. So yeah, there's all kinds of opportunities for mobility.
Wonderful. And let's see, I think, Jarrell, did you still have a question? I saw your hand up. Trying to keep in order with.
So we'll just ask it from the classroom. He was wondering about HR remote positions. Do you have anything available like that?
So we do in some, but they're not going to be listed as remote. That's we're working through that internally to get remote hybrid added as a drop down. So that would be like an investigative one, but most of our HR positions will be on site.
That's awesome. Is there anybody that we could reach out and contact to, like a recruiter on LinkedIn that maybe you could speak to about that?
To give you context, so I cover, I have a team of 8 people, and we cover the central and west regions of the United States. And then my team member, her name's Ashley Wesley. She's an Air Force spouse. So she covers the east and the north. So anything in Texas all the way to Florida and up to Maine, she covers. And so if you have any questions, I'll put my email in there. Send me a note of what you're interested in, and I can connect you with a team member that covers that.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Awesome. And let's see here. Robert, did you want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question?
Let's see. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. I joined in a little bit later. I was at another job fair, but I saw earlier on your ceramic section about body armor and different aviation equipment and in general, like military aspects of your company. What would be the best way for me to find more, or to inquire more information about said like avenue of approach, or well, in general, to find more information about that kind of job opportunities relating to that?
I would connect with our APS or HPS group, and we can connect you with them. I'm going to put my email in the chat real quick.
All right. Let's see.
Thank you. Okay. And while Daryl's dropping that email there, I think Peter, you were next.
Yeah, not to be redundant, I was just trying to clarify. So even with the career search, like even if there was an opportunity, but it's just not available, because like Hawaii doesn't even come up as like a state or province I could search. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, I actually just noticed that as well when I went in there to look real quick. Any
So
insight
the
into that?
Hawaii location is a distribution center. So that might be a joint venture. You know, we're so big that sometimes we don't know necessarily all the details of all the locations.
Oh no.
But it's with the Surface Solutions business, so I can definitely. Can you send me an email and I'll try to connect you with the people who are running that business through my HR contact. I'll drop my email in the chat.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Peter.
Okay, Felix.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Hi. For the mechatronics portion that you guys mentioned for Texas, is there an online portion of that as well? Like or like an online career, how do I say it? Is there an option to do like an online course of that?
Specifically from Heroes, Felix, that's what you're referencing, our mechatronics program?
Yes, correct.
Unfortunately, right now, we don't have a virtual program. There's so much they do in person, hands-on. But if you want to follow up with Mr. Marvin Branch on our team or any of the Heroes team, we can give you more details about what we do offer virtually, though, because we do have some pathways that we offer virtually, okay?
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, most definitely. And then, you know, just speaking of mechatronics, you know, electrical, you know, schematics, with Saint-Gobain, is there any training? So let's say if they did want to come on and maybe they're hired on in one position, but had a interest to learn more in another area. So let's say they come on and maybe safety and wanted to move over to the maintenance realm. Do you allow people to switch positions like that? And do you offer any training to help them to get to the different positions?
All right, sounds good to know. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Felix.
Julie, I'll leave that one for you.
So we definitely encourage cross path. For that particular example, so we have a policy that says you have to be in your job for 18 months before switching, unless your manager is okay, just to make sure we keep some, you know, business continuity. But I know the company encourages shadowing and training. So at your site, find the person who has the job you want or the skills you want to learn. And definitely, you know, what I encourage my team to do is, okay, let's have a contract and say you can spend 10 to 20% of your time with that person, if that person is okay that you kind of shadow him or her, and then this is how you can learn. So that's my preferred way of learning. We also have online courses that you can take to learn. And if you want to take a different route and go back to school, if your manager approves it, you can be reimbursed for tuition fees when you go back to school. If you want to learn something different, get your MBA, stuff like that. So there's multiple ways to learn. I just prefer to bug people to learn stuff, but otherwise, many ways.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie. Precious, do you have a question?
Yeah. Are you guys, what part of North Carolina are you guys located?
Roxborough, Claremont, Oxford.
Yeah, you want to go to Oxford. We're growing that plant, that roofing plant, and we need people. And Oxford is like super, super close to Raleigh. So it's a great location. And the team is awesome. I'm just in love with that site.
I think was it Mark Heilman? Is he the plant manager, but Mark's a
Mark?
vet. He's Mark's an Army vet and active in the group and great guy. Yeah.
See, and that's
Thank you.
That's about an hour and 50 minutes from Fort Liberty.
Cool. Any other questions?
So, where we do have, even in our classes, our Heroes Make America classes where they're transitioning, they could be anywhere from, 180 days from their separation from military up to, they're ready to go to work as soon as they graduate from the classes. So when they're looking at these roles and wanting to apply, what does the typical onboarding time look like? I mean, how soon should they start applying?
I would suggest, given, let's say, if you got 6 months till you leave the military or exit the military, I would definitely take that time. Let's break it down. You have 6 months. That 3 months into that 6 months, I would start doing your search, start narrowing it down. Like, what are you interested in? What are you looking for? Because I know you'll, in most cases, from what I've seen with the Army, was it Soldier for Life, the TAPS program, a year out, you can start preparing for your exit. But within those first 3 months of that 6 months, start narrowing down what you're looking for, reviewing the job descriptions, understanding like what is it that you're wanting to get into and transition to. Once you've narrowed that down and you've selected a place, now I'll talk about Saint-Gobain. The onboarding portion will take about 2 to 3 weeks, right? So given that you've got 3 months left until you separate, that gives us time to have a Teams interview or a Zoom interview with you and the hiring manager, and then possibly come out to do an on-site visit. And then by the time you exit, that onboarding should be smooth. So I would say for a candidate that is not transitioning from the military, as soon as they come in and apply, I would say 2 to 3 weeks would be that onboarding time. And then, not to mention, tomorrow we will be having a call presentation on cracking the code, deciphering a job description. So
I'm so glad that you brought that up, Daryl. Working with the population, they're so used to seeing the same MOS or MOC code, no matter if they're here or if they're overseas, 92 alpha is 92 alpha. But when you start looking at civilian roles, even from company to company, just looking at the title, you may not feel like you're qualified. So it's diving into them. So I'm so glad that we're going to have this session that you mentioned it. So yes, please, if you have interest, if there's confusion surrounding, the job descriptions on the civilian side that you've noticed, please join us tomorrow because we'll have Daryl and another wonderful expert from the Saint-Gobain team joining us to lead a wonderful session on how to crack those codes. And I know that I think it's been dropped, the registration link for the event tomorrow, but we'll make sure to drop that again so nobody misses out. You've had some wonderful questions. What other questions do y'all have? I know that there's maybe been some specific questions about preferred certifications for different roles, and that's been answered in the chat. What about, Daryl and Terry, just where you're both prior service to, I mean, still active duty. I know that you have probably participated in an interview or two. So what would you say the most common mistake you see veterans making when interviewing?
To me, one of the things is not bringing up like soft skills, right? Leadership. We all get leadership drilled into us from the day we start in the service, and I think if you can give solid examples, whether it's maybe a leadership course that you took in the military that didn't make it onto your resume, if you could highlight that, or just size of teams you may have managed in the military, that kind of stuff. That's important. And it's not something that always gets looked at. So try and look at the skills that you might have that, while you may not have attended a formal school for it, you've picked up stuff along the way that pertains to the job you're applying for. Give some good examples of it in the interview, and that should help. A lot of times we don't draw those out well enough. So if you present them yourselves, that gives us an opportunity to drill down on those.
And to go off of what Terry was saying, it's I know whenever I got out, I was very reserved on my accomplishments and was very like, and one of my first interviews that I had once leaving the Army was, the guy looked at me, he was like, man, brag about yourself. He had to get it out of me. And it took me a little bit, but all those things really highlight on those big accomplishments throughout your interview and how it transitioned or relates to that job. So
Yeah, those are pretty big things there. Just knowing yourself and then being able to express that background. I see April has her hand up.
Hi, I do have a question. If there is a specific job that you want to apply for, that you like quality assurance or like the environmental health, and you have some qualifications, but you need more, you may need like extra additional things. Would there be opportunities to actually get that position and to apply for that position? And if you're accepted, to actually get further education?
So with that, ma'am, I can't speak on behalf of all of our locations, but we do offer training in some instances. And then on top of that, I know Julie brought it up, we have a tuition reimbursement program. So you can still attend the schooling needed for that and anything else that you would like to pursue.
Thank you.
But I know, particularly for the EHS people, quality people, they are partners with certain organizations that provide certifications. So once you are with us, you can definitely have access to the courses and classes, because I see a lot of our colleagues, adding qualifications to their curriculum after they go to a conference and training. So when you have that interview with the person, you can, say, okay, I check all those points that I see on the JD, on the job description you want. And for the things that I don't have yet, talk about your willingness to learn and how you've learned quickly in multiple instances throughout your career. That is always very welcomed.
Yeah, I got an email yesterday just out of the blue that we signed up with another company called Pluralsight that offers IT training, and for employees to go out and basically get certifications and stuff. So it looks like it might be free to the employee. So great. Yeah, but like these things happen periodically, and like you just never know when some new good deal is going to come down the line. I won't tell you that this is the that there's never a problem here. Every job has issues, but this is my favorite company I've ever worked for. I only wish I had found it earlier in my life.
Thank you.
Co-sign with that. This is the best organization I've ever been a part of. that I'm not saying that because I'm on here. It's really phenomenal.
You
The
don't have to say
people,
because the Navy guy said it first either.
yeah, that too. Yeah. But let's say you're in a position where, well, you're not, let's say you're an employee of our organization, you're not in a leadership role or a management role. In-house, we do have training for leadership development. So if you're looking to pursue that next level, we do have training and education for that internally. So.
And I love that you bring up the education to build up employees, to encourage them to promote and even to move, laterally to broaden their horizons with what their knowledge of the company. So when you're doing hiring, looking over the career website, I do see a lot of positions open, but is it something for a supervisory position? I mean, do you hire from the outside or do you prefer to only promote from within?
One thing that I've seen over the past few months is that once we get that position open for, let's say, a production supervisor, the plant might already have a succession plan. They might have already have somebody groomed for that role, but there are instances where we do hire externally. But we do have a lot of locations where we grow from within, but that is not in all the cases.
And right now, as we mentioned, the company is growing fast. So we don't have the existing talents to fill all the positions. So we hire a lot from external because we are getting bigger and bigger. It's out of control.
Yeah.
We're big and old.
I know that, all of you have mentioned how much you love working for the company. It's your favorite company. I know, Julie, you've even moved countries for the company. So, you've mentioned so many wonderful things, not only, your ERGs, the benefits, but what is something else that you might not read on a job description or a company review, like something that truly resonates, maybe even with you personally, that the company does that just really keeps you there and keeps you satisfied as an employee?
For me, it's really our culture. We go off of three things, and it's trust, empower, and collaborate. And I know the team that I have, it's very much. I don't know. I go from location to location, and you see that everybody has that trust, empower, and collaborate. Different teams collaborating with each other, trusting in your peers and employees and leadership that we're going to get this done together, empowering your team members and having the autonomy to get the mission accomplished. That's what really sits with me.
I think for me, a couple of years ago, they took away our executive sponsors for our employee resource groups. We were trying a different model, and they realized after a while that wasn't working. So they wanted to give us executive sponsors back. And the CEO for North America was sitting in the meeting with all the employee resource groups leaders. And when they came around the table and said, so what do you think? Do you need an executive sponsor? Everybody said yes, except for me. And I said no. And there was some kind of disbelief around the table. And they said, well, why don't you need one? I said, because Mark, and I gestured to the CEO down the table, and said, Mark knows that I'll just walk into his office whenever I need something. And he agreed that, yeah, that happens. The culture is so comfortable that you can go to any of the senior leadership with a question, a comment, suggestion, and they will listen to it and they will give you good feedback. There is mentorship at all levels of the company, and it's just a really welcoming environment. Where the company treats you like an adult. So, it's great.
The ultimate open door policy there.
Yeah. Yeah. When you see our CEO, you don't know he's the CEO. So a lot of our interns were like, "Hey, dude, what's up?" And I was like, oh my God. Say dude to the CEO, but they just didn't know.
Yeah, he'll say it right back.
You'll see him a lot with the sleeves rolled up.
Yeah.
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 So for me, Lauren, because I've worked for Saint-Gobain in France and in the US, the first time in 2011, and then I rejoined in 2019, I saw the same quality of people who would listen and who would truly care about you as a person and your development as a professional. And I'm stunned about that consistency of quality of people, whether it's in France or the US. I know it's different countries, different cultures, but I see a theme here. So it's very comfortable that wherever you go in Saint-Gobain, you will find that very comforting culture and the welcoming aspect that Terry was mentioning.
That's absolutely wonderful. And it just speaks volumes to the company itself and echoes across the three of you, you know. So we're getting close to time. We have time for one more question. Who has our final question for us today? I can always come up with a good question if one of you don't raise your hand, because there's always so much I love learning about our companies. So, you know, sometimes where we do, our service members, our U.S. military is a melting pot of people from all over the world, you know, not just people from the States, but people who've come from other countries. So let's say if maybe they'll have dual citizenship, if they wanted to go, they noticed that, you know, you had an opening in a country maybe they're from or wanting to go back to. Is it something where they could start applying from the States to be hired overseas, or how would that transition work for a global role?
I'm going to give you the non-HR version. When you go out to the career page, you can select the country you want to search for jobs in. So that tells me that I could theoretically apply for a position anywhere in the world that the position is open and that I feel I qualify for. Now, Daryl and Julie can give you the HR version.
It'll depend on the countries and how easy it is to get a work permit. I know whenever someone wants to enter the US and they are not French and they are not already an employee of Saint-Gobain, I'm like, yeah, forget it. US immigration is pretty unique, but living from US and going to other countries might be easier. I think it is easier. And once you're in the company, definitely it is easier because you can get through the internal network.
Mm-hmm. We've had some instances where we wanted to bring someone to one of our plants in the US that's from Canada, but due to their current situation, it's unable to happen. But on the same note, we're trying to get them in our business in Canada so we can make that transfer easier down the road.
That's wonderful. And even, you know, when thinking about different languages, because not only maybe not wanting to go to different countries, but let's say they speak French, are there opportunities here in the US to help with any kind of translation between the countries as far as, you know, being bilingual, speaking French and English?
Yes, of course. We actually have a team member that was supporting a role that was one of our warranty specialists closer to the border of US and Canada. And so that person had to speak French and English.
And Julie's taught me French words.
Not the good ones.
Wonderful. I just truly appreciate all three of you being here with us today. I appreciate you being, you know, wonderful Heroes Make America sponsor and just spending your time with us. I know all three of you are exceptionally busy in your roles, and it's just such a pleasure to learn more about the company and just opportunities within, because, you know, like Julie said, it's a huge, massive company that you probably haven't heard of, you know? And so I love learning about the opportunities, and please don't treat this as, you know, just where it ends. This is just the beginning of conversations. You have so many wonderful contacts and the contact information in the chat. Utilize that. If you're not sure about you know, where you might fit in, you know, of course, still join us tomorrow for the session of deciphering, breaking the code, deciphering the job titles and descriptions, but also reach out, make those connections. Again, this is like the ultimate, I'd say all the time, this is the ultimate cheat code. How many times have you applied for a job where you got to actually speak to somebody and have a contact within the company and know more about it before applying? So utilize this resource. And Ms. Renee, if you will go ahead and launch the poll for me really quick, if you'll take just a second to go over or answer the poll questions. And I'm going to pull up our very last slide here. Let's see here. So make sure that you're connecting, that you're grabbing the, excuse me, let's see here. Grabbing the contacts from the chat. If I have this up, you're not gonna be able to see the chat as well, even though I can't. But Renee, will you go ahead and drop those contacts in the chat once more? And again, joining us tomorrow, we've got the registration links. We'll send this video out as a part of a recap. So maybe if there's something that you want to go back and listen to once again, or look at those benefits, you'll be able to watch the video recap as well. But I'll stop rambling. The wonderful Saint-Gobain team, is there final words that you want to share with the group before we say goodbye?
Julie.
Yeah, please come in and chat with us. This is open door policy, and we have a whole team ready to chat with you. And even if it's not to talk about jobs, it's maybe you want a different ear to listen to your rambling or what you're going through, we're here.
How about you, Daryl? You got anything?
Yeah, I just want to, I know it can be time in the service, and in some instances you feel like you've lost time, right, with spending time with family and friends. But I wanted to thank you all for what you've done for this great nation. And as you close that chapter, encourage you to check out our company. And I wish you all the best on your search to start that next chapter.
Yep. Good, Daryl. I echo that. Thank you all for what you've done for in service to the country, and I wish you all the best in your job search. I hope that you will give us serious consideration, and maybe we can make something happen together. But if not, we're out here, and just hit us up on LinkedIn if you have any questions that you may think of after we adjourn here today. And again, thanks.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And we will see you all tomorrow, because I know there's no way you're going to miss this session with this wonderful company. Thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.